Now, Grim, is it true that you had a hand in orchestrating that song there that we just played?
Yeah, it was during my day job.
Yeah.
I run a used
Almost
choir.
every aspect of that was developed, produced, and recorded by yourself, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Great job. Great job.
thanks.
Videography done by none other than the wonderful producer, which
Yeah.
I'm obligated to say now because of last show I really dissed her, and
Did you get in trouble?
she yelled at me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I am obligated to say that.
That's good.
Getting right into what?
Loki, episode
Loki.
5.
Loki, talking about Loki. Yeah, episode 5. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I saw
Season
the
2.
look on your face there and the concern you had. So
Yeah. Look at
so
these.
let's just
Look at these.
we got a little bit of some crows. Is that what they're called? Crow's feet?
No, those are bags. Crow's feet are over here. I don't have any of that.
I have
There they
the
are.
whitest complexion of all time. And even my even if I don't sleep, I just under my eyes just gets whiter, not darker. Or red.
Oh,
A nice coat of red.
nice.
All right. Yeah, being a ginger is tough because you can't get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not fooling anybody. All right. Oh, I think he likes that girl. How can you tell? Because he's Rudolph all of a sudden. Nice. All right. So let's recap just a little bit of the ending of season 2, episode 4.
Okay.
Where the temporal loom seems to have exploded.
It exploded. And everybody died.
It exploded. And everybody dies. End of season.
Yeah. And I told you that the next several episodes were just going to be a black screen.
And that would be actually quite amazing.
That's exactly what we got. So
a couple episodes. I believe we're down to the last episode coming up next.
Is it? Oh, yeah, I guess so. They're doing like a 5 thing, right? So.
6. We're on 5.
Yeah. They're doing a 6s thing again.
6s. Not 3 6s. Why do you have a chain? Who are you? What is going on over there?
Sometimes there's just stuff on my desk, and
there's either some sort of kink thing going on. You're gonna beat somebody up or tie someone down.
And we have a giant magnet, so now it's
that's right. So, yep, temporal loom exploded. Ends off on Loki's face as he is quite confused on what to do. The end is here.
Well, and then he turns away.
Just slightly? Open up to the scenes of this new episode where you pretty much get the same scene in reverse where it pulls away from his face.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
And it appears as though everyone else is gone.
Yeah.
Some sort of rapture has happened.
Mm-hmm. The TVA rapture.
Yeah. And the temporal loom seems more stable than it was previously.
Well, I think it blew off a whole bunch of lines, I think is what happened. It just melted.
You need to worry about your phrasing. All right. I think it's that he is absolutely in a different time period.
Do you think so? Like after?
Before.
You think it's before?
I think it's before.
But nobody's there.
Yes, nobody's there.
Why is there nobody there?
I think he slipped.
Way back?
He slipped back just before the... I don't know because like nobody's in the TVA.
That's right. Everybody's dead. He slipped ahead of the explosion.
What's left though? Would it not have like eviscerated the TVA?
Like the actual building?
Yeah.
I don't think so. There was a whole bunch of that cosmic or temporal radiation flying all over the place, and there was still a gangplank and a machine out there.
Regardless where he slipped to at this point, he walks around the TVA, nothing but warnings.
Yeah.
Nothing but warnings stating there's something going on bad here. There's not even any pie.
No, the pie got vaporized. So any organic matter.
I don't know if that was organic.
It's key lime pie.
It seemed a little bit on the green side.
Well,
But
it's lime.
is there a possibility that before everyone left, they went and got a slice?
Maybe.
Everybody
They all just ran to the pie room and they're like, last slices.
Loki comes, so he's kind of like moping around the TVA. Can't find anything. There's warnings going off and stuff. He finally comes through one of the elevators to see a version of himself.
Yeah. Looking at
whom
a book.
he says, "Hey," and
Hello.
then time slips.
Yeah.
Back only a minute or so.
Yeah.
Walks into the room, picks up the book, and then sees himself in the elevator again.
Well, doesn't see himself, hears himself.
Well, he hears himself, I guess. Maybe sees a silhouette.
Yeah.
Right. And then is kind of confused himself because he time slips back. And this is just a really fun play on like time play and stuff like that. It's a nice, cool little bootstrap paradox here.
Bootstrap.
Yeah, that's actually what those paradoxes are called. They're referred to as bootstrap paradoxes.
Because when you say bootstraps, I think of Bootstrap's Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. They tied an anchor to old Bootstraps.
Good old Bootstrap Bill. Good reference there, by the way.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, so he's looking through that that TVA manual, and I didn't remember him slipping it into his pocket.
No, I didn't really either.
Right. And then very quickly he starts to notice that the entire TVA is starting to spaghettify.
Yeah.
Right. This is crazy. I did not expect everything to be just gone.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all just turn into nothing and dust after. It's spaghettis, then dusts.
Yeah. So, and then he kind of accidentally and luckily time slips away from there, and then we're left with that that screen saying that it's some sort of a fail-safe going on.
Yeah.
So is this kind of a protocol as a reset button, kind of?
Yeah, everything maybe gets auto-pruned or something, or some sort of
like there has to be a reason for that being a protocol.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're left with thanks for your service with Miss Minutes pointing at the screen. All right. Where do we go from there?
Well, he slips around.
Kind of slips around to each of the locations of his team members.
Yeah, his buddies, his friends.
Right. Where does he slip to first? It looks like Casey.
Yeah, I think he sees Casey first, who's apparently a criminal. Which was interesting.
This scene is actually based off of a real criminal that escaped Alcatraz in that manner.
Was his name Casey?
No, his name wasn't Casey. It might have been Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Or whoever he went by there. But there was a circumstance, and it's based off a real thing, just like in season 1 where they played with that when he jumped out of the plane. I can't remember what the name of the criminal was. Remember when he jumped out the plane?
Yeah.
That was based off of a true story as well. I can't remember the name. Somebody wants to leave it in the little messages that do comments. Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, the little messages.
The little messages. Man, YouTube really got it better than I did. Good thing I wasn't working for YouTube. Oh yeah, just call it the little messages.
Oh yeah, Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of them didn't get away. One of them was meant to be like securing the boat or something like that. So there was a fourth guy who didn't get away. But yeah, they did it in the same manner, making like paper mache heads for their beds.
Yeah.
You know. And so that's interesting.
It wasn't Sean Connery?
It was not Sean Connery. Sadly. But yeah, kind of cool that they play with these real life kind of situations, and it's a cool way and an easy way of doing that, and kind of throwing these Easter eggs in, right? Then I think we go to
Nurse Joy.
Nurse Joy.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
I don't know.
No, I can't remember her name again. It's a character from the comics, who's somehow ties into the Loki stories and stuff like that.
She's from the comics, though?
Yeah, she is from the comics, and she's a doctor.
Is she?
Now I wonder.
Yeah, I guess she was a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's taking care of the little girl who broke her arm climbing the tree and stuff. And I don't think we're getting too much from this scene.
No.
Other than the fact, I think if we read into it more, knowing the character, we could probably pull something out of our asses. But it's for now. We'll move on because we really want to talk about, I think, Mobius.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's what everybody wants to talk about because Hiddleston or Loki,
Tom,
yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if he slipped into like a variant of himself who was just Tom?
The actor,
little bit
like
of
Brad,
little bit of meta stuff here.
Yeah, I would
right.
I think.
Cool. Yeah, he slips into the right in front of that watercraft store.
Yeah.
Right. He kind of slips there once and then he slips back there again and comedically mimicking the inflatable dancing character there, right? And I just wonder how many takes that took.
Well, it was brilliant.
And how hilarious it might be, So like maybe that's something we're gonna have to look for.
So you can play them back to back. Just a whole bunch of him.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. So we finally get to see Mobius on that jet ski.
Yeah.
Not in the water.
No.
But he loves his jet skis.
Yeah, with a fan on.
Yeah. Just having a blast. And it's really kind of nice to see this version of him where he's indulging in that. And you can only assume with the other scene, him having two of them, his wife's and his own, that they do regularly get out on the waters, right?
Well, they did anyway until his wife left him.
Yeah. And he even ends up trying to sell the one to Loki.
Yeah,
when you see him at the house there,
and we get to see like that he's like a single dad too, which is interesting because Mobius has never really wanted to look into
he's been reluctant to
his past, and I'm wondering if there's not something that he knows.
Yeah,
that he doesn't want to look.
Even to the extent where he got really triggered by what's his name? X5. When he mentioned that there might be somebody in his timeline that he has abandoned.
Yeah.
Right. It really triggers him. Right. So at the very least, he had a thought and he was scared to look into it.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, he does have two boys, very mischievous by the seams of it. And one of them climbing out the window with a bunch of sheets tied together and everything.
Yeah, the one that was just playing with matches.
Yeah. And you can see like a little action figure that is apparently burnt, and it looks awful like a TVA Minuteman.
It does, yeah.
So there might be some reference there and stuff like that. But at this point, we've gotten Obi. I'm trying to think of Obi's.
Yeah, we skipped ahead a bit of.
We did skip ahead.
Obi. He's
the main point.
Book writer.
He has Obi's a book writer. He's trying to sneak his books into like bookstores so that it can essentially he can buy them from the bookstore and make them think that they need to reorder. Maybe. Kind of trying to in a meta way sell his books.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because he goes back and he writes his stuff in this warehouse that looks exactly like his warehouse at the TVA.
Yeah, super similar
to
that, and kind of similar to Timely's workshop too.
Yeah. No, if you look at side by side pictures, it's the same place.
Well, where is it then?
Well, I don't
Show
know.
me.
Go look at side by sides.
Show me the money. Okay.
Like it even has the fans.
Yep. Fans are there. And the thing hanging from the ceiling. Okay. All right. Fair.
Yeah, you see it now?
I see it.
Okay, well, you see that there's, the shelves are there, the fans are
Yes,
there.
the shelves, the fans, the thingy.
It's even got the little hangy thing in the middle.
Thing, squid thing.
Yeah. So now this is a clip. I actually had to steal this from a YouTuber. Go check out New Rockstars. They do awesome.
Yeah, they do
awesome breakdowns and stuff like that. That's where I know we get a lot of our information from if we're a little sketchy on some topics. Great show. Go watch them. Not affiliated with them at all, by the way.
No, we just love them.
Yeah, we definitely do. So yeah, there's a little snapshot just in case you were wondering if everything I say is bullshit.
And it's not all. So here we are.
Not all. There's at least one thing I'm right about. So what does that bring? What questions does that bring along?
Well, I feel like if he was pulled from the timeline by He Who Remains, it would have been for things like this, right?
Yeah.
So there's a potential that Ouroboros designed the TVA as well.
I think there's a good chance that he designed the TVA at this point. And when we're looking at this episode, there's now a good chance that Loki inspired him to do it, right? By giving him, it's another paradox where he has a manual to kickstart and build all this stuff that he wrote.
Right. But he also wrote that and was inspired by Timely, who was inspired by him. So
yeah, this is there's a huge infinite.
There's an infinite time loop.
Yeah, where I
lost all my internet for a moment.
You didn't stop at all. Nothing froze.
Really?
So I think time is on your side.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, let's not start that. Okay,
sorry.
We're 23 minutes into this and we've talked about nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, goes and visits Ouroboros, kind of talking to him about the stuff, and then he's kind of posing questions back and forth with Ouroboros, and ends up that Ouroboros needs some sort of something to go on because he thinks it's possible to create these things for Loki so that he can work on the time slipping and get where he needs to be.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the reference, but then Loki happens to have that TVA book and now he has a reference.
So there's this big question about how do I find a place that doesn't exist?
Right.
Right. And the theory is that if you can time slip in a place where you can't time slip,
right,
then you can also find a place that doesn't exist.
Right.
There's a big science versus fiction thing going on. And they explain that really well, how science is a what and when and stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And fiction is you're asking why, right? Why does he need to time travel? Initially he states to fix the TVA. Right. But we find out that that's not his major motive.
No, when he's talking to Sylvie a little later, because she's the last one on the list. I also found it interesting that he never really accidentally jumped to Sylvie ever. Also that,
why would he not, when they had even a welfare version of a time pad, old school version of it, why isn't that the first place that he went?
To the TVA? Or
to Sylvie, knowing that she had the ultimate temp pad. Yeah. Right? Not this sketchy one that's going to close and cut your limbs off. Right.
That Ouroboros is still tweaking while they're recruiting Mobius.
Yeah. So before he goes and meets Sylvie, he gathers everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. Mobius has a hard time, but eventually goes back.
Yep.
You know, because statement is we can bring you back at any time.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Kind of funny when they all get together and stuff. Mobius is still trying to find people to buy jet skis. Casey's trying to steal everything.
Yep.
Right.
And wondering about the temp pad and
yeah,
where it can put him and all that.
You have to take me back to the exact moment. Right.
Could it put me in a bank vault?
Yeah. So it took Obi, I can't remember what his name is in this timeline. They're all branch timelines. He says that it took him, which it seemed like moments, but it took him how many months?
18 months, I think he said. And his wife left him, and
19 because
19 maybe.
He lost his job and his wife left him. The poor guy put all his eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
But he got the job done.
Yeah.
And he makes this glitchy, huge,
it's big,
huge temp pad, right? I think it's cool that he also refers to the time slipping as a better version of a temp pad.
Yeah.
If he can control this time slipping, it's actually a very powerful, ability.
Right? Especially considering he can do it inside the TVA where he can't, use his conventional magics and things. Yeah. Right.
So pretty cool. So they get everyone together, and now finally he's got to go talk to Sylvie. We know that Sylvie's going to be reluctant.
Yeah.
She wants it in her timeline and stuff. She wants to just stay there and stuff. And when we see her go to that truck, and I didn't notice this the first time, I didn't notice that bag that she put on the truck. I didn't notice it start to spaghettify.
I did.
Did you right away notice that?
Yeah. And then I backed it up and watched again, and I was like, no.
Yeah, so things are already starting to happen here, right? Does she notice this or not?
I feel like she kind of did, because her whole meal was gone.
Because it happens in the bar.
Too. And then, it happens in the bar. And
because when she goes to leave and Loki goes to drink his drink and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? No, she's trying to convince him that his motives are not what he says they are. What are his actual motives?
He just wants to not be alone. Wants his friends.
Is that too much to ask?
Everybody is selfish to an extent.
Where does he belong without them?
Yeah. Nowhere.
All right. And she's like, you got to write your own story pretty much. So that's cool. Now, another thing that
kind of, you got to write your own story. And she talks about, the fact that, so
I'll tell you something that I noticed that you mentioned in another episode.
Okay.
Of the Nerdy Couch Show here. And I've never noticed it more, is her GD mullet.
Yeah.
When she is sitting sideways like that.
Yeah.
And you can just
she's got the full Joe Dirt.
Never noticed it so bad until that point. Right. Yeah. I'm looking at the other episode again, and I'm like, maybe. No, full on.
Yeah.
Full on mullet here. And it's just I don't know if it's off-putting.
I don't like it. I don't I don't like a mullet in general. I'm not a mullet fan.
She needs to put that crown back on.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, mullet aside, we've got Loki going back with kind of a failed mission kind of vibe.
Yeah. So he's all bummed out. He's basically telling everybody to go home.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sylvie's gone to the record store, as you do.
Yeah.
So that you can kind of just chill out and vibe. And she grabs a record that's suggested by the store owner, goes down, and I like the aesthetics of, sitting down on the couch and putting those headphones on like you used to do in a music store or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And testing like the music that you want to take home.
Everybody from nowadays isn't going to know what you're talking about, but
but there's the group of people that are gonna just respect the vibe of that old school record store, right?
Yeah.
We're just too old is what it is.
Yeah,
we're getting there. Anyway, starting from the front towards the back, everything starts to spaghettify.
that guy he's like going to save Sylvie too.
Yeah, he was actually quite the heroic
Yeah.
record store owner.
Yeah.
Right. Could be also that he's running away from his stores spaghettifying.
That's fair.
Right. It backs her into a corner. She realizes that her world is disappearing, and
which I liked with the record spinning piece too, where it does that overhead view and things are spaghettifying around it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I thought that was
very cool, very cool. And then last minute, she opens that, uses that temp pad and gets out of there right to the location where Loki and the other guys are. And there's this big moment where it's like okay, I get it.
Yeah. Oh, the whole world is disappearing.
Yeah. What are we going to do about this? And then
it's too late.
It's too late because everything here is spaghettifying now.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of from the back of the building up, and you start to see all the crew members spaghettifying. And this is like an emotional point for me, because like seeing all of those characters that we've come to love, right? Like a lot of these characters are just
great, built
up in our heads now.
Yeah.
And one by one, we're seeing them spaghettified.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it spaghetti though, or is it like, what are those thin noodles? A little thinner.
Like maybe not. Like Mr. Noodle noodles?
No.
Or like
not like ramen
noodles?
No.
I don't know what it's a temporal noodle.
A temporal noodle, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm calling it. I'm coining that.
Okay.
All right.
It's yours.
Copyright. Yeah, and I was surprised very much when Sylvie, of all people, were spaghettified. Right? That was a big moment, and just the emotion in Loki and stuff like that. And then boom, Loki's gone.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
He did. I did it.
I
controlled it.
So where did he
He says that, and the only person in the room that knows fucking what he's even talking about is OB. Just randomly spouting nonsense.
Everyone else is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You want to buy a jet ski?
Not only did he do it, but he wasn't another version of himself in the same space. He was the same version of himself that was already in that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean.
Like in other instances, he's seen himself or he's pruned himself because there was two of him there.
Yeah.
And this time, he was him in that moment.
This is very complicated.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, though. I do know what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down here.
Like he put himself in the same space as he would have been.
And because it's intentional this time.
That could be.
Right. And he finally figures out that Sylvie's right. It's not the what or the why. It's the who.
Yeah.
So he has to focus on the people that he's trying to save. Not the place, not the TVA. He's finally realized that it's the people around him that are giving him the strength, and that now he can control that. This opens up a huge amount of possibilities for what's going to happen in the next episode now.
Yeah.
Right?
Unlimited.
Yeah. Who needs a temp pad?
Not Loki.
All right. He is he's the god of stories. Now he's going to write his own story.
Yeah. Wow.
No joke. He turns into the god of stories in the comic books.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so yeah, very interesting. And you were pretty much going to end that off there, and wait for the next episode, right?
That's what's happening.
How did you feel about this episode?
I thought it was good. We got back to that really confusing space though, from like episode 1 kind of jam, where it was like sometimes you didn't really know what was going on, which I thought, it wasn't as bad as that first episode, but it was still pretty trippy.
There was a whole bunch of that paradox going on and stuff where there's that infinite loop.
Yeah,
that's really hard to, the bootstrap paradox.
Yeah.
And it's just a mind F.
Yeah. When they do it like that, it's great though.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about it.
If they do it right, it's very interesting, right? And it keeps you thinking and stuff like that. And it's kind of like wow moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we needed, are those wow moments, right? Ooh. Wow. You know what? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The wow moments. You know what? That was unintentional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, to be completely honest, that was a wow moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Realizing what just happened there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a paradox in its own self. All right. I'm gonna go with a rating here. That was good timing.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go. I think I was at an 8.5.
I think you were.
Think I'm gonna stay there.
That's fair.
You know, fair. I don't think that this was enough for movement.
No.
In my rating, it was a very interesting episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm just hoping for that big bang moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna echo that, and I'm gonna chill at my 8. I think is where I was.
I'm thinking that's fair, and I'm thinking, like, I'm hoping for that 9.0 episode.
You think it's gonna get there? You think you're gonna get the push?
I'm really hoping so.
Really
hoping so.
Me too.
So anyway, I think we've covered that pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with the episode and with our little talk here.
Yeah, it was good.
All right.
It was a good episode.
So had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. And you know what to do. You know, check us out on all of our social medias, which you'll find in the description. While you're there, leave a little comment.
Yeah.
You know,
let us know.
Share it with your friends. Maybe you can answer a couple of questions if you have friends.
Sure.
You know?
If you don't, you know,
me and Grim, that's about it for us. You know,
and then some acquaintances,
like the producer type deal, but
yeah,
whatever. Check us out. Hope you liked it. Take care.
Peace.
Bye now.
Oh yeah.
Beans and bologna.
Baby, please come home.
I got beans and bologna.
Yeah.